Want to pass your California CDL in the first try? Like the video, hit subscribe, and let's go.
Question 1. Passenger carrying vehicles in California may not carry more than the rated seating capacity. True or false? True. The California CDL Handbook mandates that buses and passenger vehicles must not exceed seating capacity. This rule prevents overcrowding and ensures the vehicle remains safely operable. Question 2. The California Handbook allows coasting downhill in neutral to save fuel. True or false? False. Coasting in neutral is illegal and dangerous, according to the California CDL manual. It limits your control over the vehicle's speed and braking. Question 3. In California, it's acceptable to transport hazardous materials with leaking packages if the leak is contained within the trailer. True or false? False. The California CDL Handbook clearly states that transporting leaking hazardous materials is illegal. Even if contained, leaks pose a serious safety risk and are not permitted. Question 4. You do not need to stop at a weigh station in California if your truck is empty. True or false? False. In California, all commercial vehicles must stop at open weigh stations regardless of whether they're loaded. Failure to stop can result in citations. Question 5. California allows school bus drivers to turn right on red without stopping. True or false? False. In California, school buses must always stop before turning right on red and must yield to all other traffic and pedestrians. Safety is the top priority in school transportation rules. Question 6. You are required to carry emergency equipment, including spare fuses, in California commercial vehicles. True or false? True. The California CDL Handbook states that commercial drivers must carry spare electrical fuses unless circuit breakers are used, warning devices, and a fire extinguisher. These items help manage roadside emergencies. Question 7. It is acceptable to exceed the posted speed limit while descending a steep California grade if your brakes are working properly. True or false? False. The California manual instructs drivers to never exceed the posted speed limit, especially on grades. Using lower gears and proper braking techniques is critical for safety. Question 8. Drivers must carry a fire extinguisher on board their commercial vehicle. True or false? True. The handbook requires that commercial vehicles be equipped with a fire extinguisher. This is a critical safety measure in case of fire emergencies. Question 9. CDL drivers in California must demonstrate the ability to perform a complete air brake system check during the vehicle inspection test. True or false? True. The California CDL manual outlines a detailed procedure for checking the air brake system. This is a required part of the skills exam to ensure drivers can detect air system problems. Question 10. The Z endorsement is required for drivers operating vehicles with full air brake systems in California. True or false? False. California uses the L restriction to indicate no air brake qualification. There is no Z endorsement. To drive with full air brakes, a driver must pass the air brake knowledge and skills test. Question 11. California allows the use of retreaded tires on the front wheels of a bus. True or false? False. The California CDL Handbook prohibits the use of retreaded or regrooved tires on the front wheels of buses. This is a safety regulation to reduce blowout risk. Question 12. In California, all tank vehicle drivers must have a special endorsement even if the tank is empty. True or false? True. The California CDL Handbook specifies that a tank vehicle endorsement is required if the vehicle is designed to transport liquid or gaseous materials, whether loaded or empty. Question 13. It's permissible to drive a commercial vehicle with a cracked windshield as long as visibility isn't severely impaired. True or false? False. The handbook states that any damage to the windshield that impairs the driver's vision is a violation. Even minor cracks can compromise safety and are not allowed. Question 14. In California, drivers transporting hazardous materials must stop within 5 feet of a railroad crossing. True or false? False. The California CDL manual requires drivers hauling hazardous materials to stop between 15 and 50 feet from the nearest rail. Stopping too close can be extremely dangerous and is a violation of the law. Question 15. In California, a CDL holder must notify their employer of any traffic citation within 30 days. True or false? True. The California CDL manual requires drivers to report any traffic citations, whether received in a commercial or personal vehicle, to their employer within 30 days. This helps employers monitor driving records. Question 16. The California CDL manual requires all hazardous material drivers to have a medical certificate. True or false? True. In California, any CDL holder transporting hazardous materials must carry a valid medical examiner's certificate. This confirms they meet the physical requirements to drive safely. Question 17. A commercial driver must have a CDL to operate a single vehicle with a gross vehicle weight rating GVWR of 26,001 pounds or more. True or false? True. According to the California Commercial Driver Handbook, a CDL is required for operating any single vehicle with a GVWR of 26,001 pounds or more. This ensures that drivers handling heavy vehicles have the necessary skills and knowledge. Question 18. California CDL drivers must always wear their seatbelt, even when operating on private property. True or false? True. The California CDL Handbook mandates seatbelt use at all times while operating a commercial vehicle. This includes private lots and non-public areas to ensure driver safety. Question 19. You can legally drive a commercial vehicle in California with a suspended non-commercial driver's license. True or false? False. The California CDL Handbook makes clear that suspension of any class of license can affect commercial driving privileges. Maintaining a clean driving record is essential. Question 20. In California, it's legal to park a loaded hazardous materials vehicle within 5 feet of a public road if attended. True or false? False. The California CDL Handbook specifies that vehicles carrying hazardous materials must not be parked within 5 feet of the traveled portion of the road unless properly attended. This is a safety measure to reduce the risk of exposure in case of an incident. Question 21. You may use your hazard lights when driving on California freeways to warn traffic of a sudden slowdown. True or false? True. The California CDL Handbook allows the use of hazard lights to alert other drivers of hazards such as sudden deceleration or road obstruction. It helps prevent rear-end collisions. Question 22. Alcohol can be consumed in a commercial vehicle as long as the driver is off-duty. True or false? False. The handbook strictly prohibits the consumption of alcohol in a commercial vehicle at any time. This rule applies to ensure safety and compliance with federal regulations. Question 23. A California CDL holder with a Hazmat endorsement must retake a knowledge test and undergo a TSA background check every 5 years. True or false? True. The California CDL manual states that Hazmat endorsement holders must renew the endorsement every 5 years, including passing the Hazmat knowledge exam and undergoing a federal TSA background check. This ensures continued qualification and security clearance. Question 24. In California, driving with a suspended or revoked CDL can result in jail time. True or false? True. The California CDL manual warns that serious offenses, including driving with a suspended license, may lead to fines and imprisonment. Penalties are strictly enforced to maintain safety standards. Question 25. When transporting hazardous materials in California, drivers must carry shipping papers that include the hazard class and ID number. True or false? True. The California CDL manual requires that shipping papers include detailed information such as the proper shipping name, hazard class, and ID number. This ensures first responders can identify the material in case of emergency. Question 26. Hazardous materials placards are only required in California if you're transporting more than 1,000 pounds. True or false? False. According to the California manual, placards are required based on the type and class of material, not just weight. Some hazardous materials require placarding regardless of quantity. Question 27. Double clutching is recommended for shifting gears in older commercial vehicles, according to the California manual. True or false? True. The California CDL manual recommends double clutching when driving vehicles that don't have synchronized transmissions. This technique prevents gear grinding and improves control. Question 28. The California manual allows up to 15 total hours of driving time per day for property carrying drivers. True or false? False. According to the California CDL manual, drivers may drive a maximum of 11 hours after 10 consecutive hours off duty. The 15-hour limit refers to the on-duty window, not total driving time. Question 29. California requires tankers to be filled completely or left empty to reduce surge. True or false? True. The California manual advises drivers to minimize liquid surge by transporting tanks that are either full or nearly empty. Partial loads can cause dangerous movement that affects vehicle control. Question 30. It's acceptable to leave a running commercial vehicle unattended if parked on private property. True or false? False. The handbook specifies that drivers should never leave a vehicle running unattended, regardless of location. This practice poses safety risks and is against regulations. Question 31. In California, flashing red lights at a railroad crossing mean you must stop, even if no train is visible. True or false? True. The California manual mandates stopping at all railroad crossings with flashing red lights or gates. Ignoring these signals is a major safety violation. Question 32. In California, you may operate a CMV with an expired medical certificate for up to 30 days. True or false? False. The California CDL manual clearly states that an expired medical certificate invalidates the CDL immediately. There is no grace period and driving is prohibited. Question 33. In California, it is illegal to drive a commercial vehicle with any detectable amount of alcohol in your system. True or false? True. The California CDL manual states that drivers must not have any measurable blood alcohol concentration while operating a commercial vehicle. Even a small amount is grounds for disqualification. Question 34. In California, you must inspect your cargo only at the beginning of the trip. True or false? False. The California handbook requires cargo inspections at the start, again within the first 50 miles, and at least every 150 miles or 3 hours. Regular checks ensure the cargo remains secure. Question 35. Hazmat drivers in California are not allowed to leave the vehicle unattended within 300 feet of an open flame. True or false? True. The California CDL manual prohibits leaving a hazardous material vehicle unattended near open flames. This rule exists to prevent explosions and hazardous exposure. Question 36. The P endorsement on a CDL allows a driver to operate vehicles carrying passengers. True or false? True. The handbook explains that a P endorsement is required for drivers who operate vehicles designed to transport passengers. This ensures that drivers have the necessary qualifications for passenger transport. Question 37. In California, buses are not considered commercial vehicles unless they carry more than 16 passengers. True or false? True. The California manual defines a commercial passenger vehicle as one that is designed to carry 16 or more passengers, including the driver. Vehicles below this threshold may not require a CDL. Question 38. A driver must stop at all railroad crossings when transporting hazardous materials, regardless of signage. True or false? True. The handbook mandates that drivers transporting hazardous materials must stop at all railroad crossings, even if there are no signs requiring a stop. This precaution helps prevent catastrophic accidents involving hazardous cargo. Question 39. Using a helper is recommended when backing a commercial vehicle. True or false? True. The handbook advises using a helper when backing to assist in navigating blind spots and ensuring safety. A helper can provide guidance and alert the driver to obstacles not visible from the driver's seat. Question 40. The air compressor in a California CDL vehicle should cut out at 135 psi. True or false? True. The California CDL manual states that the air compressor should cut out between 120 to 135 psi. If it exceeds this, it may indicate a malfunction in the governor. Question 41. California law allows you to use handheld cell phones while operating a commercial motor vehicle as long as traffic is light. True or false? False. The California CDL handbook prohibits the use of handheld mobile devices while driving a commercial vehicle. Hands-free devices are the only permitted option, regardless of traffic conditions. Question 42. The California manual requires drivers to use the three-point contact method when entering and exiting the vehicle. True or false? True. The California CDL handbook emphasizes always using 3 points of contact to prevent falls. This means 2 hands and 1 foot or 2 feet and 1 hand at all times. Question 43. In California, using water to clean up a hazardous material spill is acceptable without special approval. True or false? False. The California manual warns that using water on certain hazardous material spills may make the situation worse. Only trained personnel with proper equipment should manage spills. Question 44. A California commercial driver can be disqualified for life for a second DUI offense. True or false? True. According to the California CDL manual, a second conviction for driving under the influence results in lifetime CDL disqualification. The rule applies even if the offense occurred in a non-commercial vehicle. Question 45. When approaching a California tunnel with hazardous materials, drivers must check for any restrictions posted. True or false? True. The California manual notes that many tunnels, bridges, and roads have restrictions for vehicles carrying hazardous materials. Drivers must obey posted signs and detour if necessary. Question 46. Only bus drivers in California need to perform pre-trip inspections. True or false? False. The California CDL manual requires all commercial drivers, not just bus drivers, to perform thorough pre-trip inspections. This applies to trucks, tankers, buses, and other commercial vehicles. Question 47. During a pre-trip inspection, checking the condition of the tires is unnecessary if they appear inflated. True or false? False. The handbook emphasizes the importance of thoroughly inspecting tires, including checking for proper inflation, tread depth, and any visible damage. Assuming tires are in good condition without inspection can lead to safety hazards. Question 48. It's acceptable to use a radar detector in a commercial vehicle in California. True or false? False. The handbook explicitly prohibits the use of radar detectors in commercial vehicles. Using such devices can lead to penalties and is considered a serious traffic violation. Question 49. The California CDL manual permits standing on the top deck of a car carrier while in motion. True or false? False. Standing on any part of a moving commercial vehicle, including car carriers, is prohibited under California safety regulations. It is highly dangerous and illegal. Question 50. In California, a trailer with non-functioning brakes is legal to tow as long as it is empty. True or false? False. California law requires all trailers over 3,000 pounds GVWR to have functional brakes. Towing a trailer with inoperative brakes is a serious safety violation.
Still feel like you need more practice? No problem. Hit that next video or download the cheat sheet now. It's got everything you need to crush your exam.